AITA for confronting my mill when she claimed I stole her grandchild by moving away. I'm 29F and married to my husband, Liam 31, and we have an adorable 2-year-old son, Noah. Recently, Liam got an incredible job offer in a different state, something we've been hoping for because it would give us a lot more financial stability and set us up for a better future. The catch was, of course, that it meant moving a few hours away from both our families, which was a big decision for us to make. Liam and I discussed it a lot before deciding to go ahead. We both agreed that this was a smart move for our family's future, and it wasn't like we were moving across the country, just a few hours drive away. Plus, Liam's new job allows us to afford a bigger place, and we'll be closer to good schools when Noah's older. It all felt like the right choice. Now, Liam's mom, Carol, has always been pretty attached to Noah, and I totally get that. He's her first grandchild, and she's been thrilled to be so involved in his life. We usually saw her almost every week, and she often came over just to spend time with him. But when we told her about the move, she didn't take it well. At first, she seemed sad, which we both expected. She made some comments about how hard it would be to see him less often, and I understood that she'd miss those regular visits. But as time went on, her sadness turned into a constant stream of guilt-tripping remarks. She started saying things like, "I can't believe you're taking my grandbaby away," and "I never thought you'd separate Noah from his family." It was subtle at first, just small digs here and there, but it soon escalated. A couple of weeks before we moved, Carol actually showed up at our house unannounced and in tears, telling us that she couldn't believe we were doing this to her. She said things like, "You're robbing me of my time with Noah," and that we were being cruel by taking him away from her. She even hinted that I was the one pushing Liam to move because I've never really liked how close they are. That accusation really stung because I've always encouraged their relationship. I love that Noah has a grandma who's so invested in him, and I've done everything I can to keep her involved. But from the way she was talking, you'd think I'd been plotting to keep her out of his life from day one. I kept calm, explained that this was a decision Liam and I made together for the good of our family, and that she'd still be able to see Noah as much as possible. But she kept insisting I was manipulating Liam to move away. I tried to brush it off, thinking she'd eventually come around, but as the moving date approached, her comments got nastier. She started telling people in the family that I was stealing her grandchild. It was humiliating to hear from other relatives that she'd been saying I was a selfish, controlling wife who was trying to ruin her relationship with Noah. The final straw came just a few days after we moved into our new place. Carol called Liam and laid into him about how I was tearing the family apart. I could hear her over the phone, telling him that I was ruining her bond with Noah and that he needed to stand up to me. Liam tried to calm her down, explaining for what felt like the 100th time that this was a decision we both made. But she wouldn't listen. She kept blaming me, as if I'd single-handedly orchestrated the entire move just to hurt her. I finally decided enough was enough. I called her myself, thinking that maybe if I spoke to her directly, she'd actually listen. I was calm but firm. I told her that her accusations were hurtful and unfair, and that I'd never try to keep her away from Noah. I reminded her that she's welcome to visit anytime and that we'd make an effort to bring Noah to see her whenever we could, but she needed to respect our decision. I explained that this move was what was best for us as a family and that Liam had been fully on board. Carol didn't take it well. She accused me of destroying her family, said I was selfish, and even told me I didn't understand the bond between a grandmother and her grandchild. I told her that I grew up in a close family too, and I would never want to deny Noah that. But moving a few hours away doesn't mean we're shutting her out. It just means we're prioritizing our own lives and what's best for our future. Since then, she's gone completely cold. She won't respond to my texts or calls, and when she does talk to Liam, she's distant and still blames me. It's exhausting. I feel guilty because I don't want to cut her off from Noah, but I also feel like her behavior has crossed a line. It's frustrating that she can't accept that this was a joint decision. I'm also annoyed because I feel like I've been put in an impossible position where anything I say or do is taken as me trying to steal Noah from her. So, AITA for confronting her. I know she's hurt, but I feel like she's refusing to see our side. Any advice on how to handle this without making things even worse? Update 1. 3 weeks later. It's been 3 weeks since my last update, and I really wish I had better news. But honestly, things with Carol have only gotten more complicated. After our confrontation, I thought there'd be some cooling off period and that maybe she'd come around once she had time to process things. But instead, she's been more distant and passive-aggressive than ever, which has put a huge strain on Liam and me. Almost immediately after our conversation, Carol started reaching out to other family members, sharing her side of the story, complete with the narrative that I manipulated Liam into taking Noah away. Now, several relatives have reached out to us, expressing their concern and suggesting that we reconsider the move. Comments like, "You know how much Carol loves Noah," and "Is it really worth upsetting her like this?" have become frequent. A couple of relatives even hinted that they feel I'm trying to separate Noah from his family on purpose. It's hurtful, especially since they've all heard from us repeatedly that this was a joint decision. Liam's really struggling with all of this. I can tell he feels pulled between wanting to support his mom and standing by me. He's been great about backing me up in private, but he's deeply hurt by her behavior. He even tried to set up a video call with Carol so she could see Noah and have a little virtual visit, thinking it might ease her mind a bit. But Carol shut that down, saying it wasn't the same, and implying that I was still keeping Noah from her. It felt like a slap in the face after all the effort we've put in to maintain some kind of relationship between them. After yet another tense call with Carol, where she once again accused me of taking her grandchild away, Liam and I decided to have a serious talk about setting boundaries. It's been exhausting trying to please someone who refuses to meet us halfway, and I think we're both realizing that this might be one of those situations where we can't keep everyone happy. I'm willing to compromise, but only if she's also willing to adjust her expectations and stop treating me like the villain. We agreed that we won't let her guilt trip us into decisions that aren't right for our family, and we're going to stick to that. Despite everything, I still want Carol to be a part of Noah's life. I know how much he loves his grandma, and I want him to grow up with family around. But at the same time, I can't keep bending over backward to appease her while she's painting me as some kind of evil daughter-in-law. Liam is supportive, but I know this has been hard on him too, and I want us both to be on the same page moving forward. Edit. Thank you to everyone who commented and offered advice. Your messages have helped me feel more validated in setting boundaries and reminded me that I'm not unreasonable for wanting some respect. I'll post another update if anything changes, but for now, we're focused on settling into our new home and trying to find some peace. Update 2, 1 week later. Things have escalated even more with Carol. I realize I should clarify a few things because I think some details got a bit lost in my previous posts. First, Carol has always been pretty involved in our lives, especially after Noah was born. I appreciated her help, and I encouraged her relationship with Noah. I genuinely loved that she wanted to spend so much time with him, and we've always made an effort to include her. But Carol has never fully understood boundaries. Even before we moved, she'd frequently drop by unannounced or call multiple times a day. Liam and I had tried gently setting limits, but it usually led to her becoming passive-aggressive or making guilt-laden comments. Moving wasn't just about the job. It was partly about wanting a bit more independence and breathing room as a family. The recent issue started because, in Carol's mind, we stole Noah from her by moving away. She's gone as far as calling me a selfish wife and telling people I'm poisoning her relationship with her grandchild. This week, Liam and I tried once more to extend an olive branch by inviting her for a weekend visit, so she could see the new place and spend time with Noah. We thought maybe seeing our home and being around her grandson might help her realize that we're not trying to exclude her. But when we spoke to her, Carol responded with more accusations, saying that a weekend wasn't enough and that if we cared about her, we'd move back to let her be part of Noah's everyday life. I told her, respectfully, that we made this decision for our family's stability and future, and while she's always welcome, we won't uproot our lives to satisfy her demands. She responded by telling Liam she feels betrayed and that he's choosing me over his own mother. It's hurtful because I don't want Liam to feel like he has to choose sides, and it feels like Carol is using that to manipulate him. We're trying to focus on what's best for Noah, and we're honestly out of ideas on how to make her see that we want her in his life without sacrificing our boundaries. Latest update. After everything that's happened, I think we're finally seeing where things stand with Carol. This last week, Liam and I had a long, serious talk about the impact Carol's behavior is having on our family. It's exhausting to keep extending olive branches only to have them thrown back, and we've reached a point where we need to prioritize our peace. Carol's latest response made things clearer. After her refusal to visit for the weekend, she started calling Liam almost daily. laying on heavy guilt about how abandoned she feels and insisting that I'm purposely shutting her out of Noah's life. Liam, trying to calm her, explained yet again that this was a mutual decision for our family's well-being. But it's like she's incapable of seeing us as adults making choices together. Instead, she's fixated on the idea that I'm manipulating Liam and taking Noah away out of spite. Liam finally had enough. During a recent call, he told her that her constant accusations and refusal to accept our boundaries were harming our relationship with her. He explained that he's not willing to keep listening to her put me down, and that if she wants a good relationship with Noah, it's going to require respecting our decisions as a family. Carol didn't take it well, to say the least. She told Liam she was heartbroken by his betrayal, and that she never imagined he'd choose a woman over his mother. It was really painful for him, and I could tell he was struggling. But he's also finally seeing how damaging her behavior has been for us. Since that call, we haven't heard from Carol. No texts, no calls, not even any accidental messages about how sad she is, which was a common tactic of hers before. It's quiet, and honestly, it feels like a relief, even though there's a sense of loss there too. Liam is disappointed, but we're both trying to focus on the positives: our new life, our son's happiness, and setting healthy boundaries for our family. At this point, we're giving Carol space and letting her decide when she's ready to approach us with respect. If she does, we'll welcome her with open arms, but we're no longer willing to sacrifice our peace.